the audio commentary. Today, guys, we're going to be watching a game from the Dog Cup broadcast. Actually, we're going to be watching two games from Dog Cup. I used Google Translate to translate the Chinese letters. It translated to Dog Cup broadcast. If that's not correct, we're going with it anyway because it's easier. So we're just going to start calling it Dog Cup. So if I'm wrong about this in the future, please don't complain to me. Just correct me. Just be like, hey, it's not Dog Cup. You know, you don't have to be mean. Don't be mean about it. Don't be like, hey, you dummy, it's not Dog Cup. You know, just say, hey, it's actually Chihuahua Cup. Or whatever. Maybe it is Dog Cup. I don't know. We're gonna call it Dog Cup for now, and we're gonna be watching two games from the tournament tonight. So if you're on YouTube, it'll be a second video. I think, yeah, it'll be a second video. But that'll be up like minutes after the first one, generally less than an hour. So let's go ahead and introduce our players. The map is Twisted Meadows, and in the 6 or 5:30 o'clock position, we have ZDR playing as the Blue Orc. Boom. Yeah, that was not how you're supposed to do that. He's going for Blade Master, kind of getting the hero out pretty quickly. It's going to be out before the grunts are out, but the first grunt should come out around the same time. So, you know, it should be okay. On the left side of the map, the lower left side of the map, it is in the 9 o'clock position. It's the Red Night Elf, Xixi, with a scout peon just coming in by himself going, what's up, guys? I'm gonna check things out. Here to inspect your trees. They're looking okay. Also, you're going huntresses. That's good. That's a good scout, because normally you scout in Warcraft 3 all the time. Like every game, you always scout. Most of the time, you see standard. And this is a standard, but it's always good to know if you're going to be versing hunts or archers or tech or whatever. And to knowing hunts, always good to know right off the bat. The Demon Hunter, I don't know where he's going. He looks like he's going up here. He's looking maybe for something. Maybe to buy some stuff. Dust, maybe? Ah, he's buying the dust. He wants to put on some aggression. Some crazy aggression. The Blade Master did do a little bit of a wisp chasing thing there earlier, and now he's going to go ahead and start creeping at the green with his grunt, making sure everything's good. And the Demon Hunter, he's going to come over. He's going to see. He's going to check out what's going on. He's probably going to say, you have too much mana, Blade Master. That's what he does. Blade Master down to 68 mana already. He did pop one Windwalk earlier. That's the second one plus a mana burn. So, you know, will that mana burn actually do anything effective? It could. It could just barely if he goes for this item creep, or this tome creep rather. Nope, not even doing that. He's going to sell Steve and go for the circle. You know, it still did something. That was still a good, get you really far across the map. Sell your TP without taking any damage and get a circlet. It would have been a little bit nicer if he could have broke the damage on a creep, but that, you know, it's at least the Demon Hunter doesn't know where he's at, and the Demon Hunter's down here messing with some grunts, which, I mean, it's good because it's preventing them from just going and creeping greens, which is good because the Orc would rather do that right now if he didn't have anything else to do with them, or kill wisps or any number of things, but really, just having to be concerned about where that Demon Hunter is and not getting chased down, it's a pretty big deal. The dust not really doing a whole lot right now, but that's okay. It's one of those things. It's kind of like, I'll get it, and then if I need it, I have it, and if I don't need it, then I don't have it. I mean, I still have it, but I can use it at some point, because the dust you can use at some point in a game versus a Blade Master. Unequivocally true. Over here we can see he is teching, but he is going for hunts. He is getting that Ultra Vision, one of the best upgrades for Night Elf. Really, if you're Night Elf, always get that. It's amazing. It gives you daytime vision at night. I don't think we ever really talk about it, but like every single elf gets it because it's cheap, it's easy, it's worth getting every single time. And Huntresses are out. Huntresses are a pretty good choice on this map because Huntresses are fast, and this is a big map with a lot of different opportunities on it. There's constantly an opportunity to be doing something on this map. It's so big. You can be going for an expansion, you can be going for creeping, you can go for harass. I mean, there's so many options. Creep jacking, I mean, literally anything you can think of you can do on this map. You can do multiple things at once. That is why map control is a big deal on a map when it's big. It's also a bigger deal on a small map because limited resources. There's always limited resources. But on a map this size, map control means that you can do more things effectively. So if you want to put up an expansion and you don't want to get it harassed on a big map with these super fast huntresses, you can harass the Orc while you're putting up an expansion, which is pretty cool. We're not seeing that though. Xixi's looking like he wants to do a tower push play, which is perfectly fine. Or at least it's kind of what it's looking like, because he's building a sneaky Ancient Protector that the Orc should not be able to see given its vision right outside the base though. And I don't know if that's going to be what he probably won't try to end the game with that, because I mean, if he can, if he sees the chance, he'll probably try to take it. But I think he's just looking to do some damage here. Actually, it's going to get even saw by the Grunt right there. The Grunt's going to start trying to take that down. Blade Master doing a good amount of damage to the Demon Hunter, which means he is not going to be able to really take a long fight here. There's no mana on the Demon Hunter, or the Blade Master, however, so that's good. The Wisp is going to take a nice little position that he can't quite be attacked by melee, always another good thing to have. Knowing those positions on the map is vital as an elf player, because this kind of thing gives you a lot of scouting information, and it's pretty much unstoppable in the early game by most races. Most of the time, if they're not going to take the time out of their day to kill one of those kind of untouchable wisps unless they have like a big ranged army. And you know, most of the time, well, a lot of the time, right, against elf, you're going to see melee armies. It's kind of the early thing to do. We're seeing an Ancient of Lore go up again. Great idea. Also a Keeper of the Grove, which is a wonderful second hero to have against Orc. It is squishy. It is very squishy, but it gives you a whole lot of control and focus fire. Entangling Roots last a very long time on units. I don't remember the exact length, but I want to say like 10, 11, 12 seconds in that range. It's pretty good. Obviously, it doesn't last nearly as long on a hero, but it holds them in place long enough that you can just kind of bash the crap out of them or surround them or something like that. It's pretty good. But again, insanely good against Orcs units, because Orc units are all big, heavy units, high value units, and one single body. And so that means that they're extremely susceptible to spells such as Entangling Roots, stuns, CCs, whatever. All of that stuff makes they're just really particularly bad against. Also, that's why, you know, it's so important to have such good positioning with the Orc army. Xixi saying you can't really creep for free, so I'm going to come in here and try to do some damage. He's got there at the end of the creep, and he's going to get hexed on one of those huntresses, and in fact he might get hexed on another huntress, which is kind of a problem. Going to see the Entangling Roots immediately go off on the Blade Master as he's kind of focusing that down as his choice target here. We're going to see a hex on the Demon Hunter as well, which is good. We're going to see them trying to switch over to targeting the Demon Hunter and try to focus fire him down. He does have a speed scroll being used, but the Blade Master once again has been entangled. A second hex onto the Demon Hunter. He's going to get a mana burn off most likely right here. Nope, he's going to go down first. That would have been a really strong mana burn, but because the King Entangling Roots guy, the Keeper of the Grove, was too far away from the Blade Master to actually get the Entangling Roots off on him, and he was able to walk away with the Healing Salve, this fight is going to go convincingly for ZDR's favor. He might lose a Grunt. I mean, he's going to lose a Grunt almost certainly here. There's always a chance that he doesn't, but yeah, it goes down. And it just seems like that was a really, really good fight for him nonetheless. Popping 2 speed scrolls, that's only 100 gold, so it's not that big of a deal. Also popping a lot of mana off the Shadow Hunter, but again, that's also not a big deal because he can just get a clarity. Also, I mean, and really, you're going to have to deal with that every single time you take an engagement with a Night Elf who has a Demon Hunter. You're just going to try to burn your mana pool as quickly as you can so you don't get mana burned to death, unless you kill him. And then you still probably want to be using it anyway because it nets you kills. Hex is a great thing for chasing down these fast units. Hex units are slow. Huntresses are fast. You can see why you would hex them to kill them. Also, they're kind of big HP units as well. They're very similar to the Orc units in the fact that they're big, high value units in a one body, if that makes sense. One entity. So we're going to see an Ancient of War creep, it looks like, on this shop. Give a lot of XP to the Keeper of the Grove and perhaps the Demon Hunter, who's also level 1. He's got no XP whatsoever on him. In fact, the Huntress, or I'm sorry, the Keeper of the Grove, only thing with XP for the Elf player, which is absolutely insane at 8.5 minutes in the game. Over here, we can see the Spirit Walker. He's coming out. I am sure he is getting some upgrades for that, because that is one of the most important upgrades to get. I don't know if he may have researched it. Yeah, it just finished. The Adept training. It gives him Dispel. This is incredibly important against Entangling Roots because we just talked about how good Entangling Roots are against the Orc units. They're high value. Holding them in place, making them totally useless, and taking damage over time is a really, really big blow. So obviously Dispel becomes incredibly useful against that. You always kind of want to have Dispel against Self regardless of what strategy they go with it for the most part. If they go with Dryads, or I'm sorry, not Dryads, if they go with Druids of the Talon, then they can Cyclone your units, so you have to have the Adept as well. It's really good. It's pretty much a hard counter to the Entangling Roots, but you have to be fast, and there's an issue. You can't just go dispelling willy-nilly, because when you dispel, you're also going to dispel your own Spirit Link, and then you have to recast Spirit Link. So basically, the mana cost for dispelling a unit is kind of a big deal, especially if it's in the middle of the Orc army. So that's a thing we probably will see Xixi abusing at some point in this fight, going for the units in the middle of the army that have a lot of Spirit Linked units around them. It's hard micro to catch when you're watching, but if you see it, you can see exactly why the elf does it. Or, yeah, the elf. The Keeper of the Grove in a bit of trouble here. He's going to get entangled and hexed, or not entangled. He's going to get hexed and focused, and he's going to be forced to TP out. Now, in the smaller scale fights, it's easier to keep the Orc's army split up a bit, so it's not as big of a deal. And also, if he has a couple of these Spirit Walkers out, it's got a bigger mana pool, but it is something that it's kind of like winning the long fight, because there's not really an easy way to regenerate the mana on these Spirit Walkers. The best thing you can do is upgrade them again to Master, which is actually pretty nice, but it's extremely cost prohibitive because you have to go to the next tier, which means getting to Fortress, which is not easy, and also then spending time at the Spirit Lodge instead of making or producing units, getting an upgrade. Those things aren't really great. Sometimes the situation calls for it, and then you can say, okay, I can do that against this strategy. It's always a nice thing to do if you happen to have the resources and the map control and the army size and maybe an expansion or two. But in most cases, you're not really going to be able to do that. You're just going to have to send them at Adept, which means their mana regenerates at an okay pace, but if they're having to spam Dispels, or rather Disenchants, and Spirit Links, they will go There's just no doubt about it. Over here, we're going to see the Blade Master trying to take down a bear. These bears are obviously in Master form, because they got Master training. They're in bear form. Rejuvenations are really, really strong. That's another thing that you want to dispel. So what we're seeing here is xixi. One of the nice things about getting the Keeper of the Grove that a lot of people may not immediately notice when you go Bear Dryad is it's even more things to dispel. You have to be dispelling rejuvenations. You want to dispel drawers if you can. And bear mana is much less limited than the Spirit Walker mana because they can use moon walls, and also they're going to be master. Like, you're going to get that master regeneration. They don't regenerate mana as quickly, but they get more value from their upgrades basically all game long. It's wonderful. Bears are slow units, though. They're not slow units, but they're slow compared to the Huntress. Huntress is a fast unit. These guys are kind of average speed. They're faster than, like, say, Fiends, but for the purposes of, like, this map size, they're kind of, they're okay. There's not really any difference there between them and Druids of the Talon. You're not gaining a lot of map control going mass bears. So in the early game, used the Huntresses. He didn't really do anything with that map control that he was kind of trying to gain because he didn't really get the map control because the Orc just kind of... the Orc just hid from him, really. But here we're going to see this is going to be a fight that's going underway. It's going to be a creepjack fight, and the Elf is just going to finish creeping, and now he's going to reposition against that Orc because the Orc kind of trickled in here. And if that happens, you can kind of deal with that a little easier. Where there is a staff, maybe? Nope, there is a staff. It's on the Demon Hunter. He can't actually staff a unit out if it's ensnared. So he has, that's why you're going to see you ensnare the bear when you focus it down. Even if you don't need to keep it still, you want to keep it there. You don't want it to be staffed out. So if it's ensnared, if it's bolted, it's stunned or whatever, you can't staff it out. So that's the important thing to note about that. And you can start to see already this army size is getting huge. So a couple well-placed entangles, maybe on a Kodo Beast, maybe on something else. If it's important enough to dispel, it's going to force the Spirit Link to be dispelled. And that's actually one of the reasons. All of this together is what makes it's a synergy strategy that the Elf is playing. It synergizes. If you have entangles and you have a bunch of things that you need to dispel, such as rejuvenation and maybe roar, just like how if you can get a really good one off, you're really playing a strategy that synergizes super well at draining the mana from these Spirit Walkers, which means you're not looking to win the game in one fight. You're looking to kind of wear the Orc player down and then win the game once they're worn down, if that should make some sense. Obviously, if you can win the game in one fight, that's always great. But that's also why we're going to see the Orc going for kind of this big push here. He's putting down the Voodoo Lounge. He's getting all kinds of stuff. He's going for anything that can preserve his mana on those Spirit Walkers. You can see him. He used a Hex on a Wisp just so he didn't get dispelled there or detonated, because that would have cost him 50 mana on each one of his Spirit Walkers, and it would have cost him a Spirit Link because all of that would have been detonated, which would have been pretty bad for him. And so he's definitely going for this fight. He's going straight for the Moonwells. Really, one of the most efficient ways to force an Elf back is to kill their Moonwells, because they want to fight at their base when they have Moonwells. And this is just a grunt. Entangling your grunt, it's not that big of a deal. You don't have to dispel it. That's a lot of mana on the Keeper to be entangling grunts. He just did it because that was kind of what was in the proximity. He could do that without having to commit and risk getting hexed. Blade Master taking a whole bunch of focus here. He's going to get a healing scroll as well as the healing wave popped off. He's got to be careful not to lose that. It does only have 42 mana right now, so he's got to be really careful here. But this fight is going pretty well, I would say, in the Orc's favor. But that guy, the Orc is kind of getting sandwiched just a little bit here, and a good entangling roots or killing on that blow, killing blow on the Blade Master could turn this around quite a lot, because that is the majority DPS. Oh, he's taking a lot of damage. Is there a healing wave? There's no healing wave, and the Blade Master goes down. Hex is going to go off onto the Demon Hunter, but again, that fight is not really one that the Orc should be too happy about. He is winning the Universe unit here, because you can see these Kodo Beasts just devouring two bears, so he's going to want to kill those at some point. And look how he's trying to kill the Spirit Walkers, because the Spirit Walkers are just so important. Gonna see the detonates going, or rather the disenchants going off right here. Gonna see one of those Kodo Beasts going down for certain. We could definitely see the second one going down if he just moves that entangling roots. I want to say the Keeper of the Grove over this way. Not too worried about that. I will say one thing that you can kind of be you don't have to worry too much about killing these Kodo Beasts, because they are very slow and it takes a very long time to digest one of these things. And you have vision while it's digesting, so you know exactly where the Kodo Beast is. And killing it means that fight went a lot better for the elf than it was looking at the elf's base, because now we can start to see just how much elf army there still is. The orc still has a pretty sizable army, but again, it's grunts and stuff. Grunts not effective against bears, surprisingly enough. And they're okay. They have the armor upgrade. They're kind of sustaining, I guess. It's better to so that they don't die, and the armor upgrade does upgrade the armor for the raiders and stuff. You want to try to keep those units alive. Kodo Beasts are good, but really your army as the orc here is mainly keep it alive while the Blade Master kills everything. I mean, that's not entirely accurate, but that's a decent summarization of what's going on in these fights. And this is the elf, the elf just picking the orc apart. He's being forced to retreat. He's gonna go to the tavern, picks up the Blade Master again from the tavern. He's gonna get a healing wave off this time, but is immediately taking a ton of focus. And Tangling Root's just incredibly powerful here, and you can just see just how ridiculously powerful it is. It's gonna get a nice healing salve onto the Blade Master. Another unit's gonna get entangled, and that means it's definitely gonna die. This grunt could get chased down potentially. He's gotta be really careful not to lose the salve on that Blade Master. Wow, and it is actually going to go off, and another Entangling Roots is going to kill him again. Oh, he is playing just a really very aggressive and crazy strategy. I'm going to see the Keeper of the Grove getting staffed back to the base so he can regenerate a bit of mana from those Moonwells. Obviously, he doesn't have a lot of mana left in the Moonwells. So, you know, throws in an Ancient of Wonder so he can start buying Clarities again at some point, which is a fantastic item to have, if you're spamming mana the way we're seeing this Keeper of the Grove do it. The Orc player needs really probably to back off and regroup a bit at some point. He does have an expansion up, so I guess he is just kind of willing to trade inefficiently to keep the Elf on this side of the map. That is one of the things where I will also say the Orc army it's not really faster at this point because he's gone full bears, but it's not slower, and he can definitely just kind of cat and mouse the orc for a while, and he's losing a lot of units, so the elf is more than happy to do this. That was a really good disenchant. He got mana burned, which is not good, and now we're gonna see a TP out. It should even get the not gonna get the peon. Oh, poor Shadow Walker, poor Spirit Walker, gonna get entangled just as he TPs out and die because he only had 3 HP. That's a shame for him, but these things happen. This peon providing a lot of scouting information, just to finding out all the good intels. So now let's take a look at something that's really important. Supplies. The elf is sitting at 49 out of 50 food. He's banked up about 800 gold and 300 wood, so he can reasonably go to 60, maybe 70 food if he wanted to. 70 food, a bit of a push, but he could definitely get to 60 or 65 without too much trouble there. The orc sitting at 50 out of 70 with about 600, 500, but he has an expansion, which puts him in a much better spot. The only thing that we're going to have to determine here to see who's ahead is then hero levels, because obviously the orc is certainly ahead in economy. And that is a very close to level 5 Shadow Hunter. He might, I don't think he might pick it up from this creep. I don't know. I don't think so. Nah, he won't. It's very close though, compared to a level 5 Demon Hunter. And where's that Keeper of the Grove? Halfway through level 4, Keeper of the Grove. So the other question is, how high is the Blade Master? He is level 3, not even level 4. That's not great for him. He really wants level 4, because level 4, most heroes don't care that much about hitting level 4. Usually level 4 is kind of a math level, but for Blade Master, it's a really good level. Every level is a good level for the Blade Master. He gets Windwalk upgrades, makes him super fast, do more damage. Great. He gets Critical Strike upgrades. Holy crap, good. That's what he's getting on the next level 4. So level 4 gives him level 2 critical strike, which is fantastic. He's got some good items to stay alive this time. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, an item you pretty much need that he didn't have in those earlier fights. Does have the Scroll of Healing as well, so that's going to be good. Trying to make sure he doesn't get mana burned right off the bat, but the Shadow Hunter in the back, he's going to be the real hero. Going to get a Dust of Appearance on that Blade Master. It took him a long time to find use for it, but he finally did, and it was absolutely worth using, worth getting at the early of the game, just to have it right now. Really, I mean, he could have bought it at any point, but just having it is well worth having. and this could be a fight right now. As we see the Blade Master just kind of running in there. He's going to get surrounded by bears. Doesn't matter. He's got the potion of lesser invulnerability to go ahead and use that. We're going to see those spirit links. Are there any good entangles? Is he saving the entangles for the Blade Master? It looks like that's what he's trying to do here. And the Blade Master now picking up level 4. Finally, going to see a disenchant right in the middle of the army. I don't know why, but he did. Maybe it might. I didn't see it. But then we're going to see some more spirit links going down. This is going to be a Kodo Beast that's got a bear inside of it, but he is entangled. He's going to get taken down as well. This is the Druid Claw that's being attacked right now. He's got ensnared, so he can't get staffed out. We do have the Demon Hunter in a Hex, which is going to reduce the army DPS quite a bit, significantly. It's kind of nice. It does have an Amulet of Spell Shield on the Demon Hunter, which makes him very difficult to Hex, however. And the Shadow Hunter is completely out of mana. You're going to see the Keeper of the Grove taking some damage. He's ensnared, but he will go ahead and pop Potion of Lesser Invulnerability to get back onto the other side of the fight. As you can see, the Orc started on this side. Now he's on this side. We're just seeing some crazy repositioning in micro right now coming out of both players. You can see another bear going down, and this fight is going pretty well for the Orc. Once again, the Elf player here, he's not out of luck. That Demon Hunter, I mean, that Blade Master is at very low, and again, there's no more healing coming out for him at all other than a healing salve. Maybe if he gets entangled right now, he could go down. He doesn't quite have enough to kill him with an entangle, or quite enough mana rather to entangle him, but the Blade Master is going to run. He's going to run back in. No, don't be that crazy. He's so insane. Why would you? He ran back in and he got entangled and he died. And now the Keeper of the Grove is going to TP out. But even though the Orc is in a kind of a bad spot here, the Elf does not have an expansion once again. This is it. He's out of gold. He has 600 gold left in the bank. It's okay. It's not great. Whereas ZDR has an expansion and he's mining. So is he going to have to... Now, he looks like he's going to have to go ahead and tavern out the Blade Master, which is going to be pretty costly. I don't know if he has enough money for that just yet. You might have to wait a little bit, but he does have a good amount of healing on his army. He's healing everything back up, and he pretty much, I mean, he pretty much won that fight. I mean, he lost his Blade Master, but other than that, did a pretty good job. His only real concern right now is if that Demon Hunter picks up level 6. If that happens, then he's in a bit of trouble, because even though this is all the Elf really has, it's not something that he's walking the Tree of Eternity over to one of those gold mines, so he's gonna eventually be able to start mining again, which means if he can hold on or do significant damage, then he can actually make something happen. And you see some repairing going on the stronghold. The problem is the bears do a lot of damage to buildings, so it's probably going to die. But that's not a big deal if he doesn't lose his production. I don't know if xixi is aware that there is still an expansion up at this point. No idea at all. But here comes another fight from the Orc. If the Orc wins this fight, then the game is pretty much over because he's got an expansion. So he just has to make sure he doesn't lose it. He's got to be careful not to lose the Blade Master here. He doesn't have enough mana for a Windwalk, so if he gets surrounded, he's in a bit of trouble. Seeing these Orc units right here on the sidelines trying to prevent that Blade Master from going down. Oh, the Blade Master goes down again. He's just been so careless with that Blade Master. He just does not care. Just not ever pulling it back. And finally, level 6 is actually going to pick up on the Demon Hunter, pops Metamorphosis, and ZDR calls the good game and bows out. Even though he was pretty much ahead, if he could have just delayed that and fought, like, you know, a little carefully. But he just threw away that Blade Master so many times. And the Orc, he was in the lead for the longest time in that game. He just shut the Elf down early on, and then he shut him down again in the mid game, and then he just started throwing that Blade Master away left, right, and center, and before you know it, level 6 on the Blade Master. I'm sorry, on the Demon Hunter. The XP from a hero dying repeatedly, it adds up very quickly. Very quickly. And since the Blade Master wasn't getting high level, that was a problem. What really, if anything, ZDR probably should have backed off and went to a shop and just sacrificed his main base and went for the big fight at the end before the Demon Hunter was level 6. I mean, that might have been better. But anyway, that was the first game we're going to watch. We're going to get a break for just a minute, and then we'll come back with the second game from the Dog Cup broadcast thing, whatever it is. We're going to come back and watch that one, which is going to be Thu playing as Orc versus an undead named 120. So stay tuned. If you're on YouTube, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. We're going to break. Kabam.